Jake Morrison pulled his coat tighter as the wind tried to knock him down. The ice storm was the worst he had seen in 5 years on this planet. Snow flew sideways through the air like tiny bullets. He could barely see 3 feet in front of him. The power had gone out an hour ago. Without the main generators, everyone in New Haven Colony would freeze to death before morning. Jake was the only one who knew how to fix the backup systems. He had to get to the power station even if the storm killed him trying. Each step was a fight. The wind pushed him backward. Ice covered everything, making the ground slippery and dangerous. Jake fell twice, cutting his hands on the frozen rocks. But he kept going. 200 people were counting on him. He was halfway to the power station when he heard it. At first he thought it was just the wind making noise. But then he heard it again. It sounded like crying. Like a child crying. Jake stopped and listened. The sound came from his left near the old mining equipment. No one should be out here. All the families were safe in the main building. But the crying was real. He changed direction and fought his way toward the sound. The crying got louder as he got closer. Through the blowing snow, he saw a small shape sitting on the ground. It was a child, alone in the storm. Jake ran forward as fast as he could on the icy ground. The child looked up at him with big, scared eyes. It was a little girl, maybe 8 years old. She had long dark hair covered in snow. Her clothes looked strange. They seemed to shine even in the dark storm. "Hey there," Jake said, kneeling down beside her. "What are you doing out here? Where are your parents?" The girl looked at him with eyes that seemed to change color in the dim light. "I'm lost," she said. Her voice was clear and calm, not what Jake expected from a scared child in a deadly storm. "My name is Kira. I can't find my way home." Jake noticed something odd. The girl was not shaking from the cold. Her lips were not blue. She seemed perfectly fine even though the temperature was low enough to kill a person in minutes. Her tears had frozen on her cheeks, but they looked like tiny blue crystals that gave off a soft light. "Kira, we need to get you inside right now," Jake said. "This storm is very dangerous." He picked her up, surprised by how light she felt. Her clothes were not wet from the snow. They seemed to push the cold away somehow. As he carried her, Jake noticed that she felt cooler than a normal person, but not cold like someone dying from the freeze. The trip back to the colony took twice as long with Kira in his arms. The wind seemed to get worse, as if the storm was angry that he had found her. But Jake did not give up. He had been a soldier before becoming a mining engineer. He had carried wounded men through worse conditions. When they finally reached the main building, Jake was exhausted. His hands were numb and his face hurt from the cold wind. But Kira looked exactly the same as when he found her, calm and unharmed. Dr. Lisa Park met them at the door. She was the colony's doctor, a smart woman who had saved many lives over the years. "Jake, thank God you're back. Is this child hurt?" "I found her outside in the storm," Jake said, setting Kira down gently. "She says her name is Kira and she's lost." Dr. Park knelt down to look at Kira. "Sweetheart, are you feeling okay? Are you cold or hurt anywhere?" Kira shook her head. "I'm fine. Thank you for helping me." Dr. Park looked confused. She touched Kira's forehead and pulled her hand back quickly. "Jake, her skin is ice cold. She should be dead from being out in that storm. We need to get her to the medical bay right now." They took Kira to the small medical center in the colony. Dr. Park ran every test she could think of. Jake watched as the doctor's face became more and more confused with each result. "This is impossible," Dr. Park whispered to Jake. "Her body temperature is 30 degrees below normal, but she's not showing any signs of hypothermia. Her heart rate is very slow but steady. And look at this blood test." She showed Jake the results on her computer screen. "I've never seen anything like this. Her blood has a different structure than human blood. It's like she's not completely human." Jake looked at Kira, who was sitting quietly on the medical bed. She seemed to be listening to everything they said, but she did not look worried or scared. "What does that mean?" "I don't know," Dr. Park said. "I need to run more tests. But Jake, where did this child come from?" We know every family in this colony. No one has a daughter named Kira. Before Jake could answer, the lights came back on. The backup generators had finally started working automatically. Through the medical bay window, they could see that the storm was ending. The wind was getting weaker and the snow was stopping. Jake's radio came to life with a message from the communications center. All stations, this is Control. We're getting emergency signals from other colonies. 3 mining stations have gone dark in the last 6 hours. And long-range sensors are picking up something big coming our way from deep space. Jake and Dr. Park looked at each other, then at Kira. The little girl was no longer looking at them. She was staring out the window at the stars, and for just a moment, her eyes seemed to glow with the same blue light as her frozen tears. "Who are you really?" Jake asked softly. Kira turned back to him with a sad smile. "I'm exactly who I said I am. I'm lost, and I can't find my way home. But maybe that's about to change." The next morning, Jake woke up to find Kira sitting by his bed. She had not slept all night, but she looked as fresh as if she had just woken up from a long rest. Her strange clothes still seemed to shine with their own light. "Good morning, Jake," she said with a smile. "Thank you for saving me." Jake sat up and rubbed his eyes. In the daylight, Kira looked even more unusual. Her skin was so pale it was almost see-through. When she moved, she seemed to flow like water instead of walking like a normal person. "Kira, I need to ask you some questions," Jake said gently. "Where did you come from? Who are your parents?" Kira's smile faded. "It's hard to explain. I come from very far away. My people sent me here to learn about humans, but something went wrong, and now I'm stuck." Before Jake could ask more questions, his radio buzzed. It was Ben Clark, the colony administrator. "Jake, get to the main hall right now. We've got a big problem." Jake found Ben and Dr. Park waiting for him with worried faces. Security Chief Amy Stone was there too, looking at reports on her computer. "Jake, we've been getting reports all morning," Ben said. 7 colonies have lost contact with Earth. Each one reported finding a lost child just before they went dark. Amy pulled up pictures on the main screen. "Look at these security camera images from the other colonies. Every child looks human, but they all have the same strange features. Pale skin, unusual clothes, and they don't seem affected by extreme weather." Dr. Park added, "I ran more tests on Kira while she slept. Her cellular structure is completely different from human cells. It's like she's made of some kind of energy that's pretending to be solid matter." Jake felt his heart sink. "So she's not human at all?" "I don't think so," Dr. Park said. "But Jake, she's not dangerous. All my scans show that she's actually trying very hard to appear human, like she's putting on a costume." Ben looked worried. "The question is why? Why are these beings appearing at human colonies, and why do the colonies go silent after they arrive?" Amy's radio crackled with a message from the communications center. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from Earth Command. There are massive ships approaching human space. They're not ours, and they're not responding to any messages." Jake felt Kira's small hand slip into his. She had appeared beside him without making any sound. "I need to tell you the truth," she said quietly. "All of you." They all looked down at her. In the bright lights of the main hall, her eyes were clearly not human. They shifted color like oil on water, and they seemed much older than they should be in a child's face. "My real name is still Kira," she began. "But I'm not a child. I'm not even human. I'm what you would call a scout for my people, the Valathi. We've been watching humans for a long time." Ben stepped forward. "Watching us? Why?" Kira looked sad. "Because humans are spreading through space very quickly. My people have lived in the galaxy for thousands of years. We've seen many species rise and fall. Most of them destroy themselves, or become dangerous to others." Dr. Park knelt down to Kira's level. "So you came to study us?" "Yes," Kira said. "We take the form of human children because we learned something interesting about your species. Almost all humans will risk their lives to save a child, even a child they don't know. We wanted to see if this was true." Jake felt a mix of emotions. He had been tricked, but he could not bring himself to be angry at Kira. She still looked like the lost child he had saved from the storm. "What about the other colonies?" Amy asked. "Why did they go dark?" Kira's expression became even more serious. "They didn't go dark because of us. They went dark because of the ships that are coming. The hegemony has decided that humans are too dangerous to be allowed to spread through the galaxy. They're coming to stop you." Ben's face went pale. "Stop us? How?" "They want all humans to return to your home system and stay there," Kira explained. "If you refuse, they will force you back. The colonies that went dark were attacked by advanced scouts." Amy was already at her communication station. "I need to contact Earth Command immediately." "It's too late for that," Kira said. "The main hegemony fleet will be here in less than a day, but there might be another way." She looked directly at Jake. "My people, the Velathi, are very powerful. We could help humans fight the hegemony, or we could help the hegemony defeat humans quickly and with less suffering. The choice depends on what we decide about your species." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. Kira's childlike appearance flickered for a moment, and Jake saw something else underneath. A being of pure light and energy. Then she looked like a little girl again. "We sent scouts like me to learn if humans are truly different from other species. We wanted to see if you would be kind to someone weak and helpless, even if it put you in danger. We wanted to see if you would protect others, even strangers." Dr. Park stood up slowly. "And what did you learn?" "From you, Dr. Park, I learned that humans will work all night to help someone they just met, even when they're tired and scared. From Amy, I learned that humans will put themselves between danger and innocent people. From Ben, I learned that human leaders worry more about their people than about themselves." She looked at Jake with eyes that seemed to hold starlight. "And from Jake, I learned that a human will walk into a deadly storm to save a complete stranger, just because that stranger might need help." Jake felt overwhelmed. "So will your people help us?" Kira shook her head. "I don't know. I'm just one scout. My people will make their decision based on reports from all of us. Some of my fellow scouts might have seen very different things from humans." Amy looked up from her communication station. "I'm getting a message from long-range sensors. The alien ships are bigger than anything we've ever seen, and there are hundreds of them." Through the main hall's large windows, they could see the morning sky. But now there were new stars visible in daylight, the lights of approaching ships. Kira walked to the window and placed her small hand against the glass. "The hegemony ships are already here. They're preparing to attack. But my people are also coming." Jake joined her at the window. "What happens now?" Kira looked up at him with eyes that suddenly seemed ancient and wise. "Now we find out if humans really are as special as you've shown me, or if you're like every other species when you're truly tested." In the distance, the first alien ships began to appear in the sky, dark shapes against the morning light. 3 hours later, human ships arrived at New Haven Colony. Jake watched from the main hall as 5 military vessels landed outside the settlement. The largest ship was a destroyer called the Defiance. Captain Ryan Bell walked into the colony, with 12 armed soldiers behind him. He was a tall man with gray hair and cold blue eyes. He looked like someone who had fought in many wars and won them all. "I'm Captain Bell," he announced to the gathered colonists. "We're here to help defend this colony and to secure any alien assets." Ben Clark stepped forward. "Captain, we're grateful for the help, but what do you mean by alien assets?" "Captain," Bell's eyes found Kira, who was standing close to Jake. "I mean the alien spy you've been harboring. Our intelligence says there's a non-human entity here disguised as a child." Jake moved in front of Kira. "Her name is Kira, and she's not a spy. She's been helping us understand what's happening." "Step aside, civilian," Captain Bell said firmly. "That creature is coming with us for interrogation. It might be our only chance to learn how to fight these aliens." Dr. Park spoke up. "Captain, she's just a child. She hasn't hurt anyone." "It's not a child," Bell replied. "It's an alien wearing the shape of a child to trick you, and it's working. You're all protecting it instead of thinking about the safety of humanity." Lieutenant Kate Hughes, one of Bell's officers, looked uncomfortable. "Sir, Maybe we should talk to the alien first before we take it. Captain Bell gave her a sharp look. We don't negotiate with enemy spies, Lieutenant. Kira stepped out from behind Jake. I'll go with you if it will help, she said quietly. I don't want anyone to get hurt because of me. No, Jake said firmly. Kira, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Captain Bell laughed. Look at this. The alien has you so confused that you think it has rights. This is exactly why these creatures are dangerous. Amy Stone checked her sensors and called out, Captain, we've got incoming. 3 alien ships are heading straight for us. Everyone ran to the windows. 3 dark ships were coming down from the sky, moving faster than anything Jake had ever seen. They were not as big as the human ships, but they looked deadly. Tulwayu stations, Captain Bell shouted. His soldiers ran to their weapons. All civilians to the emergency bunker. But Jake noticed that Kira was not moving toward the bunker. She was standing very still, and her eyes were glowing brighter. Those aren't hegemony ships, she said. They're scouts, testing your defenses, the IA. Alien ships opened fire. Beams of red light struck the human ships on the landing pad. The Defiance's shields flickered and held, but 2 smaller ships exploded immediately. Captain Bell was shouting orders into his radio. Return fire. All weapons, target those ships. The human ships fired back with missiles and energy weapons. 1 alien ship took a hit and spun away, smoke trailing behind it. But the other 2 kept attacking. A blast hit the main building. The roof above the medical bay collapsed with a thunderous crash. Jake heard Dr. Park scream from somewhere in the wreckage. Lisa! Jake ran toward the collapsed section, but more debris was falling. A huge piece of metal beam was coming straight down at him. Jake closed his eyes, waiting for the impact. But instead of pain, he felt warmth. He opened his eyes and saw Kira standing in front of him. The metal beam had stopped in midair, surrounded by blue light. Kira was no longer pretending to be human. She was glowing like a star, and the air around her crackled with energy. She lifted the beam away and tossed it aside like it weighed nothing. Jake, are you hurt? She asked, but her voice sounded different now, older and more powerful. I'm okay, Jake said, amazed. But Lisa is trapped under there. Kira nodded and walked toward the wreckage. As she moved, the debris began to lift itself out of the way. Broken concrete floated through the air, and twisted metal straightened itself. Dr. Park was trapped under a fallen wall, unconscious and bleeding from a head wound. Kira knelt beside her and placed her glowing hands on Lisa's forehead. The cuts healed instantly and Lisa's eyes opened. What happened? Dr. Park asked weakly. Kira saved us, Jake said, helping Lisa stand up. But when Kira used her powers, something unexpected happened. Jake felt a strange connection form between his mind and hers. For a few seconds, he could see what she saw, feel what she felt. Through Kira's senses, Jake saw the universe differently. Every living thing was connected by threads of light. He could feel the fear of the colonists, the anger of the soldiers, and the confusion of the attacking aliens. But most of all, he felt Kira's deep sadness. She was afraid that her people would decide humans were too violent to be trusted with space travel. She had seen humans do wonderful things, but she had also seen them fight and kill. She was not sure which side of humanity her people would believe. The mental connection faded, but Jake understood something important. Kira was not just studying humans, she was trying to find reasons to save them. Captain Bell and his soldiers had stopped, fighting to stare at Kira. Her true form was beautiful and terrible, a being of pure energy shaped like a child surrounded by stars. What are you? Captain Bell whispered. Kira looked at him with eyes like galaxies. I'm someone who wants to help, but I don't know if I can. Lieutenant Hughes lowered her weapon. Captain, maybe we should listen to what she has to say. But before anyone could speak, the sky filled with new ships. These were massive vessels, each one larger than the entire colony. They blotted out the sun as they settled into orbit around the planet. Kira's glow faded, and she looked like a human child again. But now, everyone had seen her true nature. The main hegemony fleet has arrived, she said quietly, and so have my people. They want to meet with you, Jake. Me? Jake asked, surprised. Why me? Kira took his hand. Her skin felt warm now, not cold like before. Because you're the one who saved me. You're the one who showed me that humans can be kind to strangers. My people want to hear your story. Captain Bell stepped forward. I should be the one to speak for humanity. I'm a military officer. Kira shook her head. My people don't care about your military ranks, they care about your hearts. And Jake has shown me more about human hearts than anyone else. Through the windows, they could see shuttles leaving the massive alien ships. Some were heading toward Neat, the colony. Others were moving toward the human fleet that was gathering in space above them. What do I need to do? Jake asked. Kira smiled, but it was a sad smile. You need to convince my people that humans deserve to live among the stars. If you can't, they'll let the hegemony push you back to your homeworld. And if you refuse to, the hegemony will destroy every human colony in space. Jake looked around at all the faces watching him. Ben, Dr. Park, Amy, Captain Bell, the soldiers, and the colonists. All of humanity's future might depend on what he said in the next few hours. I'll do my best, he said. Kira squeezed his hand. I know you will. That's why I believe in you. The alien shuttle that came for Jake was like nothing he had ever seen. It seemed to be made of liquid metal that flowed and changed shape as it moved. When it landed, there was no door. The walls simply opened like water. Kira took Jake's hand as they walked toward the shuttle. Don't be afraid, she said. My people won't hurt you. But they are very old and have seen many species destroy themselves and others. Jake felt nervous but tried to stay calm. What should I tell them? Tell them the truth, Kira said. That's all you can do. Inside the shuttle, there were no seats or controls that Jake could see. The walls glowed with soft blue light, and somehow Jake knew they were moving very fast through space, even though he felt nothing. Where are we going? He asked. To meet Zephyr, Kira replied. Zephyr is one of the oldest of my people. They have watched over this part of the galaxy for thousands of years. The shuttle stopped, and the wall opened again. Jake stepped out, onto what looked like a crystal bridge suspended in space. Below him, he could see stars and nebulae stretching to infinity. Above him was a structure that hurt his eyes to look at. It seemed to exist in more dimensions than his mind could understand. Welcome, human. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Jake turned and saw a being of pure light floating toward him. It was tall and graceful, constantly changing shape like a flame in the wind. I am Zephyr, the being said. I have been waiting to meet you, Jake Morrison. Jake tried to bow, not sure of the proper way to greet such a creature. Thank you for seeing me. I know this is important. Zephyr's form shifted, becoming more solid and human-like, though still made of light. Important, yes. Your species stands at a crossroads. The hegemony believes you are too violent and dangerous to be allowed to spread through the galaxy. They want to contain you before you become a threat to other worlds. And what do you believe? Jake asked. I have seen many. Species rise and fall, Zephyr said sadly. Most follow the same pattern. They start curious and exploratory like humans. Then they become territorial and aggressive. Finally, they either destroy themselves or become so dangerous that others must stop them. Jake felt a chill. You think humans will follow the same pattern? Zephyr gestured, and images appeared in the air around them. Jake saw wars throughout human history. Battles, explosions, cities burning, people fleeing. Your history is filled with violence, Jake Morrison. You fight over resources, territory, beliefs, even the color of your skin. How can we trust you with the vastness of space? Jake wanted to argue, but he knew Zephyr was right about human history. We're not perfect, he admitted. We've made terrible mistakes, but we've also learned from them. We're trying to be better. Are you? Zephyr asked. The images changed to show more recent conflicts. Space pirates attacking merchant ships, colonial disputes, military buildups. Even now, as you spread to the stars, you bring your conflicts with you. Jake felt discouraged, but then he thought about what he had seen on New Haven. That's not the whole story, he said. Yes, humans fight, but we also help each other. We risk our lives for strangers. We share our resources with those who need them. Zephyr's form flickered with what might have been interest. Tell me. Jake took a deep breath. When I found Kira in that storm, I didn't know who she was. I just knew she needed help. I risked my life in a deadly blizzard to save someone I had never met. One act of kindness does not define a species, Zephyr replied. But it wasn't just one act, Jake insisted. Dr. Park worked all night to help Kira, even though she was afraid. Amy put herself between danger and the colonists. Ben worried more about everyone else's safety than his own. The images around them changed again. Now Jake saw different scenes. Human rescue teams saving people from disasters, doctors treating patients in war zones, teachers working in poor communities, volunteers helping refugees. Yes, humans can be kind, Zephyr acknowledged. But kindness is not rare in the galaxy. Many species are kind to their own kind. The question is, can humans be trusted with power over others? Jake thought about Captain Bell and his soldiers, ready to take Kira away for interrogation. He thought about human history, filled with conquest and exploitation. I don't know, he said honestly. Some humans use power badly, but others use it to protect people who can't protect themselves. The hegemony says that all species make this claim, Zephyr said. But power corrupts. Fear breeds violence. It is safer to contain humans now than to wait and see if you will become a threat. Jake felt desperate. What would it take to convince you that humans deserve a chance? Zephyr was quiet for a long moment. Around them, stars wheeled slowly through space. In all my years, I have seen only one trait that truly separates dangerous species from peaceful ones. What's that? The willingness to show mercy to those who could be threats, Zephyr said. Most species eliminate potential enemies or ignore them entirely. Only a few have ever chosen to help those who might harm them. Jake thought about this. And you've never seen humans do that? I have seen humans help other humans, Zephyr replied, even humans they dislike. But I have not yet seen humans show mercy to alien enemies who are actively trying to harm them. Before Jake could respond, the space around them filled with alarm signals. Through the crystal walls of Zephyr's ship, Jake could see explosions in the distance. What's happening? He asked. Kira appeared beside them, her form flickering between human child and energy being. The hegemony has started their attack, she said urgently. They're not waiting for our decision. War Commander Thane has decided to force the humans back to their home system immediately. Zephyr's form darkened with anger. Thane grows impatient. He remembers when his own people spread too quickly through space and brought destruction to many worlds. He will not allow the same to happen with humans. Can you stop them? Jake asked. I could, Zephyr said. But should I? If I protect humans, now, and you later become a threat to the galaxy, the blame will be mine. Jake watched the battle raging in space. Human ships were fighting bravely, but they were vastly outnumbered. The hegemony fleet was pushing them back toward the planet. There is one way, Zephyr said slowly. A final test. If humans can prove their true nature when faced with overwhelming odds and the chance for revenge, then I will know what kind of species you really are. What kind of test? Jake asked, though he was afraid of the answer. Zephyr's form became brighter, more solid. I will withdraw all protection from your colony. The hegemony will attack New Haven directly. Your people will face an enemy much stronger than them, with no hope of winning through force. Jake's heart sank. You're going to let them destroy the colony? I am going to see how humans react when they are defeated, Zephyr said. Will you fight to the last person, bringing death to both sides? Will you flee and abandon those who cannot escape? Or will you find another way? Kira looked at Jake with worried eyes. This is the test my people give to all species. Most fail. Jake thought of all the people in New Haven. Ben, Dr. Park, Amy, the families with children, even Captain Bell and his soldiers. How long do we have? The attack begins in 1 hour, Zephyr said. If humans show me that they can choose compassion over revenge even when facing their enemies, then I will know they can be trusted with the stars. Jake felt the weight of his entire species' future on his shoulders. And if we fail the test? Zephyr's light dimmed. Then I will help the hegemony push humanity back to Earth, for the safety of all life in the galaxy. Jake closed his eyes and thought of everyone depending on him. Take me back to New Haven, he said. We have work to do. Jake returned to New Haven with 30 minutes until the attack began. He gathered everyone in the main hall, colonists, soldiers, and Captain Bell. Listen to me carefully, Jake said. The aliens are going to attack us directly. We can't win by fighting them. They have bigger ships, better weapons, and more soldiers than we do. Captain Bell stepped forward. Then what do you suggest? That we surrender? No, Jake said. I suggest we show them who humans really are. He explained Zephyr's test, watching as the faces around him showed fear, anger, and confusion. When he finished, the room was quiet. So let me understand this, Amy said slowly. We're supposed to be nice to aliens who are trying to kill us? We're supposed to be human, Jake replied. The best kind of human. Dr. Park raised her hand. Jake, what exactly are you asking us to do? Jake looked around the room at all the worried faces. I'm asking you to trust me. When the attack comes, we're not going to fight, we're going to help. Captain Bell's face turned red. Help the enemy? Are you insane? Help anyone who needs it, Jake said firmly. Human or alien? That's what humans do. Lieutenant Hughes looked thoughtful. Captain, maybe we should consider this. Our weapons won't make much difference against their fleet anyway. This is madness, Captain Bell muttered, but he didn't give any orders to stop Jake. Kira appeared beside Jake, looking like a normal human child again. The hegemony ships are moving into position, she said quietly. War Commander Thane is leading the attack personally. Through the windows, they could see the massive alien ships positioning themselves around the planet. The human fleet was retreating, clearly outmatched. Attention, New Haven Colony, a voice boomed from speakers throughout the building. It spoke in perfect English, but with a strange accent. This is War Commander Thane of the Hegemony Fleet. You have 5 minutes to evacuate this world. Any humans remaining will be considered hostile. Jake picked up the communication microphone. War Commander Thane, this is Jake Morrison. We're not leaving, but we're not your enemies either. There was a pause. Then Thane's voice returned, sounding puzzled. You refuse to evacuate but claim not to be hostile? Explain. We're civilians, Jake said. Families, doctors, engineers, people just trying to make a life out here. We don't want to fight you. Then why do you refuse to leave? Jake took a deep breath. Because this is our home now. We have sick people who can't travel. We have equipment. That keeps us alive. If we leave, some of us will die. Another pause. That is not our concern. You chose to settle in space that belongs to others. The communication cut off. A minute later, the attack began. But it was not what Jake expected. Instead of destroying the colony with massive weapons, smaller ships landed around New Haven. Alien soldiers in strange armor came out, but they did not immediately start shooting. They're trying to capture us, not kill us, Amy observed. Jake nodded. Everyone stay calm. Remember what we talked about. The first alien soldier to enter the main hall was tall and covered in blue-gray skin. Jake could see intelligence in its large, dark eyes. It carried a weapon, but it was not pointed at anyone. Humans, you will come with us, the soldier said, in broken English. Jake stepped forward slowly, hands raised to show he was not armed. Are any of your people hurt? We have a doctor here who can help. The soldier looked confused. Why do you offer help to enemies? Because that's what doctors do, Dr. Park said, stepping up beside Jake. They help anyone who needs it. Before the soldier could respond, an explosion shook the building. One of the human ships in orbit had been hit and was crashing toward the surface. It struck the ground near the landing pad, and Jake could see that parts of it were on fire. There might be survivors, Jake said. We need to help them. No, the alien soldier said. You stay here. But Jake was already moving. He ran outside toward the burning wreckage, and Dr. Park followed him. To Jake's surprise, so did several of the colonists. The crashed ship was half buried in the ground. Jake could hear voices calling for help from inside. He started pulling away pieces of twisted metal, even though the wreckage was hot enough to burn his hands. "Jake, be careful," Dr. Park shouted, but she was helping too. They managed to create an opening in the hull. Inside, Jake found 3 injured human pilots, but also something unexpected: 2 alien soldiers who had been aboard the ship when it crashed. One of the aliens was trapped under a piece of metal, unconscious and bleeding strange purple blood. "Lisa, over here," Jake called. "This one's hurt bad." Dr. Park crawled into the wreckage and examined the injured alien. "I don't know their anatomy, but this looks like serious internal bleeding." Jake looked at the alien who had followed them outside. The soldier was staring at the scene in amazement. "Your friend is dying. Our doctor wants to help, but she needs to know about your biology." The soldier seemed frozen with shock. "You would help our wounded?" "Of course," Dr. Park said, already working to free the trapped alien. "A life is a life." The standing soldier quickly helped Dr. Park understand alien biology. Working together, they managed to stabilize the wounded alien and get all the survivors out of the wreckage. As they carried the wounded to the medical bay, more alien soldiers arrived. But instead of attacking, they just watched in silence as humans and aliens worked side by side to save lives. War Commander Thane himself finally appeared. He was larger than the other aliens, with scarred skin and old, tired eyes. He watched as Dr. Park treated alien and human wounded with equal care. "I do not understand," he said to Jake. "We are your enemies. We came here to force you from your homes. Why do you help our wounded?" Jake looked up from bandaging a human pilot's arm. "Because they're hurt, and we can help. It's that simple, but we would be within our rights to kill you," Thane said, sounding confused. "You are invaders in our space." "Maybe we are," Jake admitted. "But that doesn't mean we have to be enemies. There's enough space in the galaxy for everyone, isn't there?" Thane was quiet for a long moment. He walked over to where Dr. Park was working on his injured soldier. "Will this one survive?" "I think so," Dr. Park said. "But I need to monitor him for the next few hours. His species has a very different blood chemistry than humans." "You know nothing of our biology, yet you risk your life to save him?" Dr. Park looked up at the war commander with tired but determined eyes. "I'm a doctor. Saving lives is what I do, regardless of what species they are." Something changed in Thane's expression. The hardness in his eyes softened. "My people were once like yours," he said quietly. "Young, eager, spreading quickly through space. We thought the galaxy was ours to take." Jake stood up. "What happened to them?" "We met a species stronger than us," Thane replied. "They could have destroyed us, but instead they contained us, forced us to slow down, to think about our impact on others. It saved us from becoming monsters, but it also filled us with fear of what we might have become." "So you do to others what was done to you?" Thane nodded slowly. "I thought it was necessary. But your people, you respond to aggression with mercy. You answer violence with healing. I have never seen this before." Through the medical bay windows, they could see alien and human soldiers working together to put out fires and clear debris. The battle had stopped without anyone giving an order to stop. Suddenly, the room filled with blue light. Zephyr appeared, their form shifting between energy and something more solid. "War Commander Thane," Zephyr said. "Have you seen enough?" Thane bowed deeply to the energy being. "Ancient One, I have seen something I did not believe possible. These humans show mercy to those who came to harm them. They risk their lives to save enemies they have never met." Zephyr turned to Jake. "And you, Jake Morrison? What have you learned from this test?" Jake thought carefully before answering. "I learned that being human isn't about being perfect. It's about trying to do what's right even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. And what is right? Helping others when they need it. Showing kindness to those who are different from us. choosing to heal instead of harm, even when we're scared or angry. Zephyr's form grew brighter. The Velothi have made our decision. Humanity will be welcomed into the galactic community, not as conquerors, but as healers and protectors. War Commander Thane straightened up. The hegemony withdraws its ultimatum. Perhaps it is time for old enemies to become new allies. Kira appeared beside Jake, no longer hiding her true nature. She glowed with soft blue light. But she still looked like the child he had saved from the storm. "Thank you, Jake," she said. "You showed me that humans really are special." Jake knelt down and hugged her. "Thank you for giving us a chance to prove it." 6 months later, Jake stood in the same spot where he had found Kira during the ice storm. But now, instead of a deadly blizzard, gentle snow was falling on the expanded New Haven colony. The settlement had grown into a research station, where humans, Velothi, and even some hegemony species worked together to explore the galaxy peacefully. Ships from a dozen different worlds came and went regularly. Kira had chosen to stay with Jake, taking the form of his adopted daughter. She was teaching him to ice skate on the colony's new recreation pond, laughing as he slipped and slid on the smooth ice. "You're getting better," she said, helping him stay upright. "I had a good teacher," Jake replied, watching as alien and human children played together nearby. Above them,